Good evening to all students and faculty present here. This is again an online guest lecture series on another topic which is of very importance to students. It is on soft skills to maximize your outcome. So that is the general topic that we have chosen. And under this series of lectures, we have different topics. And to start off with the first topic for the lecture series, we have Dr. Vidyaa Hari, who is going to talk on communication skills today. I think communication forms a very important aspect in whatever that we do. Even your writing is a kind of a communication, your speaking is a way of communication. So she will be telling all those things. So without taking much of time, a brief intro about Dr. Vidyaa Hari. Most of you would have seen her many times on the virtual platform, and some of you also would have seen her in person. And she is a dentist by profession. She is also a psychotherapist, counselor, and she does a lot of activities towards women empowerment, and she's also into this get fit, get into good health, so get fit series. So she's such a kind of an amazing person who has been giving a lot of topics for our students and faculty over the last 3-4 months. And today we have her with us today to talk on the topic communication skills. Now I would invite Dr. Vidyaa Hari to take over and then enlighten our students and faculty on communication skills. Welcome, Dr. Vidyaa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shankaran, for those kind words. Thank you so much, John, sir. I mean, it's like, homecoming for me. And thank you, IDP of TANUVAS and all those dignitaries behind the scenes. I mean, it's so important that all of us have a kind of understanding of what we need in life, right? And I just love the topics which has been put forth in front of me. And today is just the first or the beginning. We are going to talk on communication skills. So everybody understands that we communicate, right? Am I right or wrong? So when you were a small child, probably when you were about 6 months old, you started telling your mom or dad or anybody at home, you started showing things in your hands and started communicating, right? But in the initial days, maybe from your birth to about 6 months, only your mother would have understood whatever you would have communicated. Am I right? And after that, when you look at life, as life went on, you became 2 years and 3 years, and you started talking very few words. And everybody was very excited when you were speaking. In fact, when you're a child and when you're starting to speak, everybody is like, yay, you're talking something. And they'll say, tell amma, appa, anna, akka, and all. So many things, right? But after you are 3 years old, what happens? If you think very, very seriously, people say, don't talk like this. You should not, raise your voice and talk. Then what are you talking in front of people? You're supposed to keep quiet and listen to people. And, people start giving you ideas as to when to talk, how to talk, why you should talk, why you should not talk. There is a very famous saying which says, like, the first 3 years, you learn how to talk. And after that, you learn when to talk, when not to talk, and how to talk, and everything about talking. So that is the importance of communication. So today what we're going to talk is about the communication skills, and this is very, very important, my dear friends. I'm not going to tell that it is because you're all doctors. I know majority of you are all doctors, and you have a kind of a communication with patients. In your case, since I'm talking to the IDP of TANUVAS, which means all the veterinary doctors, your communication is going to be with animals, and it is not probably verbal communication. It might be gestural, but then when you communicate with their owners, or even in life, when you have to just speak to people, many a times what I have found is people, as they grow in their career path, only people who have good soft skills have excelled in life. The others, because they don't have these soft skills or people skills, they have just stayed back, and it has not given them that kind of a hike in their life. So I'm so fortunate to be a part of this IDP of TANUVAS curriculum, wherein I'm able to share with you as to these nuances or small everyday nuggets, which if you start practicing it in your daily life, it is going to make a world of difference, right? So with those few words, I want to go ahead with sharing my screen. And this is going to be very special, my dear friends, because you can apply whatever I'm talking to you right from today. It is not that you need to wait and then, you have to learn about it or work on it. Whatever I'm talking to you right now, you can start applying it right away. So as Shankaran sir said, our topic is going to be communication skills. And I was just enamored by this kind of brochure. Look at how dynamic it is. See, if I write 6 on the floor and I look at it as it is 6 and you see it as 9, both of us are right? But then we need to understand very clearly that what we are trying to communicate is the opposite person also understanding it the way we are communicating. Many a times misunderstandings happens because of this noise. So even when you're talking to your friends, your colleagues within your college, your classmates, maybe your seniors, maybe your information getting transferred to your teacher or your professor, and maybe when you're going to give up, a kind of a resume for your work, maybe in your workplace, maybe information transfer amongst your family members, communication is anywhere. And this is something which is very basic of a human being. And we need to be able to communicate effectively because it is the most important life skill, which means without communication, all of us would have been gone by now. Just imagine yourself, even in this pandemic, most of us, if you look at it, we survived only because of communication. Today, I'm sitting here in Chennai communicating, and I saw Selvaraj sir in Namakkal who's logged in. So it is so important that wherever we are, we must be able to communicate. If we were not able to do that, it would have been so difficult for each one of us. And those with good interpersonal skills and who have a very strong verbal and non-verbal communication, I'll talk to you a little more on this, are considered to be good with people. That's what I told you, the people skills. You should be able to understand the people and you should be able to convey information to them. And this transferring of information with proper understanding, that is all is communication. It's so simple. What are the basic communication tools if you look at it today's world? You have your emails, your mails, your telephone is a way of communication. You have different types of telephones, your way of messaging, your SMSs, your cell data plans, your conferencing, social networking sites. All these are modes of communication. You are trying to communicate yourself with the outer world. That could be through a web, or it could be through people, or it could be a personalized messages like how you do as an SMS. And these conversations, you can do it just by typing, or you can handwrite and send, or you can do both. You can sometimes send a video message. You can sometimes just send an audio message. I'm sure all of you know this and much more, right? But how do we perceive these information? This is very important. So you are speaking or writing or visually representing something, that is your way of presenting it. And how are people interpreting it? They are either listening, they are speaking, they are reading, they are writing. And then they are also trying to understand or view it from what you are talking. We call it the audio visual aid. You remember a time there was only print media and then it became radio. So most of us, if you listen to songs, you will be able to repeat the songs very faster because your concentration is on your listening mode. And then it came the audio visual like the television and the rest, which, you could see and hear. And that is why it went and registered much more better in your mind. Today, education has also become like that. Previously, we used to just, write it on the blackboard. Then we had the OHP sheets. And then we started having audiovisual aids of communication. So when communication occurs, as I told you, they occur in 4 basic different ways. Verbal means when you speak it. Non-verbal means it is not with words, it is with body language, it is with action, facial expressions, visual, what you can see, and written when you can write and simply understand. So these are the basic of communication. Now, when you divide or classify communication, verbal is further divided into oral communication and written communication. And non-verbal, as I told you, is body language and expressive behavior. And when you look at the verbal, you should use strong, confident speaking voice. Many a times when I speak to people, even if it is on one-on-one, they have their hand over the mouth. So the moment you keep your hand over the mouth and speak, that means you're not confident. It is a body language. So whenever you come for a Viva VOC, I'm sure you all must be having that in your exams. If you want to look confident, the first thing is even sitting erect. Next is active listening. And avoid filler words. And avoid any jargon when you talk. Many a time, people appreciate my lectures. The very reason is, even though I'm a very technical person, in terms like I'm a medico myself, and I practice active dentistry, nevertheless, when I talk to an opposite person, I go down to that level of which that person understands. I don't talk my technical jargon to them. So if I'm talking to a lay person, I will first find out what is the level of language or knowledge they have. If they are speaking to me in Tamil, I will never speak to them in English. I will only speak in the language which they are comfortable. So verbal just does not mean speaking. It means the language you speak. It means at what level are you speaking. So when you're talking to a child, imagine a 3 or a 4-year-old child. When you go to the level of the child and then start speaking, they love it. They love you for that. And when you go to their level of, playing or whatever it could be, they love you for that. To them, if you're going to go and boss, there will never be a bond. There will be respect maybe, but not a bond. What is non-verbal then? Non-verbal is the emotions, the feelings. And this is supposed to actually become a kind of the root of the conversation. When you're talking to somebody, imagine there are 3 people sitting and they're talking. And one person who's talking is only looking at the person number 2, not at person number 3. So then person number 3 by itself, even though he or she can hear what is being said by the person 1, because he is not involved in it directly, after a few minutes, his mind will wander somewhere else. That is why eye contact is very important. Second is a speech therapist. So many a times when I do a lot of this ankyloglossia surgeries in my practice, and when I do it, I have a speech therapist who comes and they help the child speak. So that is a video of mine on YouTube. If you go and just see that, you will see an 18-year-old boy whose tongue was relieved, and the child, I call him a child because he's a child for me. So, he started talking. And imagine he used to say T, D, 3, tree, all as T. Because the R, that R was very difficult for him. And after I relieved, he was able to speak it properly. D, T, tree, 3. And as he was speaking this, his mother started crying. And I asked her, why are you crying? You should be happy. Your child is speaking. She said, no. When my child was 3 years old, I hit my child because he could not say 1, 2, 3 properly. So it's a very emotional moment. But that is very important, especially when your linguistics is not very clear. Next is the tone with which you speak. See that it is not a monotonous one. You have some kind of highs and lows. Volume should be very, comfortable. Don't speak in very loud voices. Many a times when I have attended some seminars, I find it very difficult to listen because, sometimes it's too jarring for the ears. And sometimes it is too soft that we can't hear. So you have a kind of a moderate volume and the rate or the speed at which you're talking. Speak in such a way that whatever you speak, you're not made to repeat again and again, so that it is very clear and very crystal. It's a lot of clarity. That's important. Next is non-verbal, wherein it is postures and movements. Now, I'm not asking you to do a drama in front of people. No mono acting. But wherever you think your hands or your face gestures would complement what you're trying to say, then it works. Next is expressions, as I told you. When you look at your mother, you know exactly when she is, in a good mood or when she's not in a good mood. Go and talk to her something, and the mere look of hers on you, she's angry, she's opening her eyes and she's going to talk to you. And she is in a mood to hug you and, fondle you. Then her eyes are, totally relaxed. So by just these eyes, you'll be able to understand. And most of us might have some mannerisms, especially with the face and the tongue and everything. I have seen many people do like this. So these things you can avoid, especially when you are trying to communicate. So let's look at verbal communication in depth. You need to speak with confidence, have a good body language, and be very friendly. That is also very important, especially if you are, looking at a larger audience. You being approachable becomes the most important aspect. And next is art of listening. Now, art of listening itself, I can take it as a separate, 1 hour lecture, because many people don't listen. Even before listening, they are ready with an answer. So that's not the way it is. It should be that you are communicating, you're heard, and then you respond. Now, when you stand, the way you stand, the way you put your hands speaks a lot. So if a person crosses the leg, that means they are not communicating, which means whatever you say, they are closed. And if they're not looking into your eyes, they, turning somewhere and talking, that means they are lying. And that is why, police or anybody, they understand with the body language. They just look into people's eyes. That's very important. And if your legs are open, if there are 2 people and your legs are open facing each of them, that means they are including them in your conversation. Whereas if your legs are towards one side, that means you are not including the other person in a conversation. Closing your hands, putting your hands up like this or tightening your hands means you're, trying to not being attentive, like you know it all. You're having a very hostile attitude, very aggressive. Oh, I know it. That is the kind of thing. And when you put up a smile and when you lean forward, it means you're interested in a conversation. And the moment you put your hand on your waist, that means you're very defensive. Somebody is telling you something and you don't like it, and you have your viewpoint and you're defensive. And when somebody is very fidgety, they want to just move out of that place. They just want to leave. So all of us show these emotions. All of us have done all these, mannerisms. But we need to understand what counts, because that is, very important, especially when you're communicating. Nonverbal communication is with touch, facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, and body movements and posture. Eye contact is very important, my dear friends. So when you talk to somebody, see both of you are in the same level of contact. A person who's sitting on the chair and another person who's standing. Imagine your professor is sitting and you're standing. Maybe in a college atmosphere, that might be authoritative, where a person who's sitting shows his authority over the person who's standing. Maybe the same example holds good for a person who is, working in a office where the senior boss is sitting and the employee is standing. And then you cross your hands and you listen and say, yes, sir. Yes, probably that is a kind of a submission then. But when you want an open conversation, then you both sit on the same eye level and talk. That is why if you see in interviews, both the people, the interviewer and the interviewee, both of them are sitting at the same eye level because they are in for an open conversation. So this non-verbal communication is very important. As I told you, this topic today has nothing to do with probably your actual, animal science study, but in life and the way you will excel from here on, it has a huge impact. And soft skills today is being included by the educational system is because many children are, they are book nerds, which means they know the subject, but then beyond that, they are not able to shine. So, you should be a master in these people's skills. Next is written communication. Now, written, I don't know how to even put this forward because there was a time when we used to write postcards, we used to write letters, and then we started writing emails. Now, till that time, I think the language, the English, the ifs and buts and the full stops and all was there. But today, with SMS, it's really becoming very short in communication, right? Good morning becomes a GM, good evening becomes a GE, and your becomes YOUR becomes UR. So, there is this language is just got worse with these kind of short, writing. As far as possible, when you write, you try to bring your creativity outside so that you have this kind of an approach where you're able to hit the nail and get the information. So I would encourage all of you to when you write, try to still be the same traditional or conventional way, because when you write your answer papers, it might help you, especially because you're a student right now. Now, how can you improve your verbal communication skills? Very important, because many a times what we say is not what people hear. They hear in a different thing and then we get into trouble. So how do you improve? You think before you speak. First of all, I would say speak only what is the truth. Second, speak only if you have seen it. Don't try to spread rumors. And speak only if it makes the other person happy. These are the three things I have been following at least. I don't speak if I have not seen it. If it is a hearsay, I hear it maybe, but then I don't spread that. And I only say things which can lift up another person's, mood. You don't have to tell lies for that. Now, suppose if I see a person who has no hair, I'm not going to go and tell them, oh, you have a very good hairstyle, right? I would try to find out something else in that person which will make him realize that I'm genuine in what I'm talking. So probably I could say, oh, I love the color of your shirt. It could be something like that. So communicate and speak the truth, but think before you speak. Many a times they say, you just spill the beans and then you are trying to clear it up. Because words, when spoken, it can make or break a person. So there is a very important science. I'm sure you must have heard this study also. So this person is blind and he is going to be executed. And the jailer comes and tells him that we are going to leave a snake. And the snake will sting you. And the moment it stings you, it's a very poisonous snake. The The moment it stings you, the poison will get into your body and you will die. So this is what the jailer is telling that person, the culprit. So the moment the culprit hears this information, he is only thinking about that one prick which is going to prick him, and he is going to die. That's all is his thought process. Because his eyes are blindfolded, so he can't see anything, he's blind. So the day comes and the jailer just takes a safety pin and pokes him, that's all. And that guy dies. You must be wondering, how can poison come, right? But it comes, and it's a study, it's a proven study. It is not just a joke or something which I'm telling you. So it is very important to think before you speak, because it can make or break a person. So be very genuine, be clear, and speak with confidence, and speak with your tone, which is very, very soothing for another person to hear. And always be a good listener. See, if you are a good listener, when you speak, the other person will listen to you. But then if that person is talking and you are talking, and it will only lead to a confusion, an argument, and I don't know what next, right? And be always aware of your non-verbal communication cues, especially your face. When somebody is talking, if you just smile, it's enough. But then if you're having a frown and like, oh God, she started again. If that is the kind of expression, the other person will know and not talk. And think about the perspective of your audience. Now, whatever you're talking, see that it reaches the person the right way. How can you improve your written communication skills is, as I told you, know what you're writing and write it clearly. And use the correct tone, because when you read a sentence, you will be able to understand the emotion behind the sentence. Have you ever noticed when you say a hello over a phone call, you will know if the other person is smiling and talking, or you will know if the other person is in a hurry. So always they say the first communication skill which you look for a telephone operator. I'm sure now that job is lessened, but with the telephone operator, they always used to find out a person who has a smile as she or he talks. Very important. Keep the language very simple. Stay on the topic. Keep it concise. Use very active voice, and have someone to proofread your writing. If you're writing for a journal, or if you're writing for any magazines, or writing a textbook, I'm sure all of you are going to do that. At least 5% of you from this student gang will become authors of textbooks, or you will write some kind of publications for your animal studies, and you will get into research and for the upliftment of your profession. So you should be very clear in what you're writing, and you have somebody else proofread it. Others are the multimodal communications, and you can see there are wonderful ways, like I had explained to you earlier. And all this is just to help you communicate, or add-ons. They are the add-ons. It's not like this or that. It can be acting as an add-on. Next is essential communication. These are things which you definitely need to have. That is positive body language, transparency and honesty, effective listening, accurate information which has to be given. Don't always give some kind of an opinion. So opinions stink, right? So don't give opinions. They say there is a phrase or a proverb that says opinions are like armpits and it stinks always. So don't give opinions. Try to give as much as facts as possible. And use professional language. Don't use any politically incorrect language or any slangs when you speak. That's very wrong. And be very empathetical, and do mirroring. Mirroring means if you see children, you sit like this, the child will sit like this. So, that is called the mirroring. And personalization. When you speak on one-on-one, try to be very genuine and personal to that person. And the essential communication skills for each of your career, as I told you, This could be a very important tip, especially if you're going in for your interviews or things like that. Learn to listen, be very friendly, be very genuine, be open-minded. That's a very important, aspect. And looking for the feedback, be confident, and work out on your nonverbal communication. So the effective communication skills includes whatever I have spoken to you. In addition, because you're all doctors, you need to have a patient education understanding, and I'm sure because you work on the animal front, you would be very compassionate with people and with the animals, and you need to understand that you need to develop a kind of a trust with your animals. I'm sure all of you must be doing that. You must be experts in that rather. So, that is very important. And all the effective communication is all because you need to have a very important understanding as to how you can use this for getting into the next league or a higher level. Now imagine you are a professor and you want to go into the next level, so you're thinking about more productivity. You need to be a very strong decision maker also. You should also be good or quick in problem solving. And you should, like if you are a part of a team, you should add value to the team. And it's very important to have a team spirit within the people. And you should also be able to show in your leadership, the leadership qualities in you. And each of us have our kind of a professional image, and it's always nice to stick on to that and be very consistent in the workflow. There are, sometimes they say you should not become a one movie wonder. Many a times in actors' life, you would see that, right? One movie they do very well and then you don't see them at all. So then they will think it is a fluke, right? So only when you be consistent and you've given a consistent kind of a hits, then you will be able to value the hit and the flaw, on either way. Then it makes you a seasoned person. So effective communication includes good listening, awareness of nonverbal communication, recognizing communication barriers. I'll talk to you about that. The art of clear request, exploring your own unresolved issues, and deciding when and why to have a difficult conversation. What does difficult conversation mean? It means like the art of confrontation. When people disagree with you, you're trying to give try to share a point and people are disagreeing, you have to help them understand what is your way of thinking, and you also should be open-minded to understand what is it that they are not agreeing with you, and then you come to a consensus, right? So that's very important. So the 4 communication skills are verbal, non-verbal, and thinking of what you are saying, and listening. And as I told you, you should talk in such a way that this communication itself does not lead to any emotional riot or any stress within people. Many a times within very close people, maybe husband and wife, maybe mother and child, there is a kind of a rift which happens. And this is very important because emotionally they get withdrawn. I have seen this a lot happening, especially with the children and their fathers, or the children and their mothers, and they have a kind of a very troubled relationships. And this is very important for us to address because this leads to a lot of stress in the child, and they are not able to feel that they are loved by people. Being a psychotherapist and a counselor, I get a lot of cases like that on a daily basis. And sometimes these people come to me when they are 30s and 40s. And then when I, go back in their life, I find something has happened as when they were a small child, and that has prevented them from getting the best out of their life. So we need to be very clear cut on what we communicate and how we communicate. And I think we as should bring the change in the next generation, right? Next is, as I told you, we have certain important aspects of communication. each of which I will be dealing it in detail. These are the 8 facets of communication. So let's deal that. First is the emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence means becoming first aware of yourself, then expressing empathy, and see that what you speak motivates the other person. Also see that it is self-regulating within you, and you have a good kind of a social skill to be approachable with people. Next is confidence and clarity. So if you have very low clarity and low confidence, whatever you're trying to communicate will never come across. Just it's like how you read for an exam and go for a viva. That's how I can give you an example. So if you're very confident, you know the subject, then your voice will be clear. You look into the examiner's eyes and talk. So that will be the high clarity and high confidence. But then if you are like, it's not working.
Very good.
Okay, I think somebody has unmuted. So anyway, so this is for us to.
Ma'am, you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Oh, I'm kindly unmute yourself. Sorry.
Yeah. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking about vivas, and we were talking about your confidence level on the subject that you're going to present. So if you're confident in your knowledge and you have clarity of thoughts, the way you get across to people will be with much more confidence. But then if you don't know the subject, as I told you, you will try to keep your hand closed and you will look down and you will answer and nothing will come out of it. So this is very important. So both clarity and confidence in your speech should be there. Next is be very friendly, be genuine, put a smile. These are kind of strokes when you look at people. Like you say, high fives right now. So, you should be able to, that feeling should be that you're a very, a kind of a very friendly person. And that comes out even on the Zoom calls. So you should try to maintain that. Next is confidence level when you communicate. And for that, you should study, my dear students. I mean, there is no two ways about it. All this is different, but then when you study, you try to get a good kind of a knowledge and be very humble. Be very humble. Never get pride in your head. That is another very important thing. Humility will bring you lots of riches. I don't know how many of you are following the Olympics right now, but then I just saw a video which came between the Italy and the Qatar, Olympian, and the Italy person, he injured. And the referee is saying, should we go in for another round? Because then you can do better than this. And the Qatar man had the Olympian champion, he had the graciousness to say, no, both of us go gold. See, they have worked for 4 years, in this case 5 years, because we are in 2021. I think this is the only Olympic which has been conducted in a non-leap year. So because of the 2020, that 4 years thing, pandemic. And look at the way he has created history. That one moment of decision, that one moment of humility, that one moment of empathy, he has won millions of hearts. We are talking about it right now. So knowledge is good. He is very good in his job. Obviously, he's gone the gold Olympics, right? It's a dream come true. And why will he want to share with another person? But then it's that empathy. That other person has also won. And what is the point of winning when you know your opponent is not good? Correct? When do you think a match is the best? When both the people are strong competitors. When one is not so good and the other one is a veteran, there's no competition at all, right? So your humility will be shown only in these areas. and try to be humble. All of us love Abdul Kalam Ayya. Why do we do so? Right? Because of his humility. He did everything for students. That's very important. And participate in all extracurricular activities. I am one such person. And I'll keep doing it because it gives me a lot more clarity of doing my work, my professional work much better. And honesty is rewarding. Be very honest with yourself. I'm not talking about being honest with others. Because until unless you're honest with yourselves, you'll not even work on to being honest with others. And when you talk, be genuine. Don't copy or don't do parroted kind of a response. Like, you know how a parrot response is, right? Be very dynamic in your conversations. Listen, and keep listening. That is the first step of communication. And get out of your comfort zone. I don't know how many of you will accept and believe if I say, till I finished my 12th standard, I was a very inconspicuous person or a student in my class. My teachers knew me, my friends knew me because I was friendly and all, but I was not too extrovert to communicate with people. I was good in my studies. I was good in whatever I did, but then I was not a very too much of an extrovert. But after my professional BDS, I changed. I got out of my comfort zone. And each of us have to get out of our comfort zone. I don't know what's your comfort zone, but every time you have to, shed that outer covering to renew the new you. And show empathy when you communicate. Be very mindful. Be in the present. And that is very important. And always think about, or rather, let me say it this way, put yourself in another person's shoes and think for them also. That's very important because your mind is what is going to program and talk a lot more. And then is the respect in your communication. Whenever you communicate, see that you're giving that kind of a respect to the opposite person. That shows your upbringing, your kind of respect for people. And it's very important, your values in life. And this would help you actually get a giant leap in whatever you are trying to do. And always try to be very, a kind of a part of a team. Because they say if you're a single person, you can go only so far. But as a team, you can go, miles together. So always be a part of a team and put in your effort so that each of you shine. They say team is nothing but together everyone achieves more. Team is an acronym, right? So when you look at communication, non-communication is only 30%, communication is 70%, and in that 70%, 45% is listening, 30% is speaking, 16% is reading, and 9% is writing. So you can see a huge part of communication. And always have a very open mindset. Be open to ideas. Be open to change. They say change is the only constant thing is the entire universe. And there is also a saying which says minds are like parachutes. They function only when they are open. Umbrellas another. Only when you open your umbrella will it work, right? So mind is also like that. You have to keep it open. And you should always think about a growth mindset. Never have a fixed mindset. Growth mindset means, okay, you are accepting the challenge. You know, this is all I know. How can you develop yourself? And what is a challenge and how do I grow amidst my challenge? And be very critical, of course, when it comes to you. But don't be overcritical to not appreciate your baby steps. So as you do a good thing, you try to appreciate yourself so that you can go to the next level. And anybody who is trying to correct you, always see or take it in a very right spirit so that, any feedback should be very constructive. Whereas the fixed mindset person always says like, I'm frustrated, I give up, and I'm not, I don't agree with what they say, and what I know is the best, and they think too great of themselves. So always be in a growth mindset. So communication, these are the 7 C's. Be clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. And communication is the lifeline of any relationship. The power of communication is to build you good relationships, have good values, improve your customers. I'm sure all of us, are a part of a network. You are into the veterinary network, and you will want probably to open up a clinic, and you will want to satisfy the patient, the animal, so that they bring in more patients to you. So you need to understand the importance of communication, and they should be loyal. Imagine another veterinary doctor opens up a clinic next door. Now, would you like them to just run away from you? No. So there must be some soft skills. I always ask this question: why should this person call me and walk into my practice? What is the thing that I can do better that the other person can't do? Write it down. Only that will determine your success. So listen, have good non-verbal communication, be clear, be concise, be confident, be personal, have a very kind of a friendly approach, put a simple smile, and be very patient. Don't be, rushing through any conversation. Be very calm, composed, so that what you speak, people get it right. So as Jim Rohn said, if you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. And that's what I want all of you to have miracles in your life. And Brian Tracy, another very effective person, says communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. As I told you, communication is the life skill. It's the basic skill. It's something which all of us need to develop. And communication can be through people, through media, through writing, reading, listening, through connection, through discussions, through talks, through message exchange. And I believe these discussions, you should take it in a very positive way. Whenever somebody is discussing, always look at it that what that other person is talking, because listening is one very important aspect of communication. The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply. So many a times, even before the other person has completed the statement, we are ready with the answer. That should not be the way. So effective speaking skills is, as I told you, you should know your message, think before you speak, and know something about your audience so that you can connect with them. See, I gave you example of the snake bite because I know all of you are veterinarians, right? So some examples which will make sense to all of you. And use easy language and simple words, importance of the subject, illustrate with examples, stick to the time, and have the facts and respond well to the questions. How do I improve? Now, this is very important. So it is very normal that when you talk for the first time, especially imagine you're presenting a paper or something in your conferences, you will be nervous, which is very normal. But practice only gives you perfect. So keep practicing, prepare for it well. And if anybody is giving you a feedback, listen to their feedback. It's very important. And let your personality come through. You are an individual. Use humor, tell stories, use effective language. And don't read unless you have to. Especially when you have these lines on a conversation, don't read it. Use as much as audiovisual aids and use your voice and hands effectively, and omit any nervous gestures. Like, some people will be biting their nails, or, they'll be, fidgeting. Don't do that. And grab attention at the beginning and close with a dynamic end. And your speech is about them and not about you. and organize your material, what you're going to speak in a very effective manner. So good communication skills are the key to success. Now, what are the barriers of communication? What stops you from communicating? Maybe language. Imagine one person has come from Kerala and you are from Tamil Nadu. Maybe you don't understand the language. That could be a barrier. Psychological. Maybe you're not on the same mind frame. Interpersonal, you're not a very friendly person. Cultural differences, especially if you're planning to go abroad. There are people from various cultures, like how are you going to interact with them? Organization, if there is some kind of a war between two organizations, then, and physical, where you can't meet and talk. So how can you overcome this? We have a physical barrier which we have overcome, right? We are talking on a Zoom meet. Culture and language, you can learn the language. As I told you, you can smile first. You can look at them in the eye, and whatever you speak, they'll be able to understand. Credibility, that's very important, my dear friends. That is built over time. It cannot happen overnight. You need to be good, and you need to be good every single time. 1 or 2 failures is fine, but then you need to stick to your words. You need to be disciplined. Emotional barriers. Now, this is again a very important aspect. I always ask people, are you a thermometer or a thermostat? What does that mean? Thermometer is when you are sick, the temperature will rise. When you are normal, it will be normal. Thermostat means whatever the temperature, we try to keep it and maintain. So it's always, we need to be emotionally, we must be as a thermostat. Whatever affects you, whether high or low, you must be able to take it in your stride and walk forward. If you say great leaders, you will see them in that way. They're very calm, very composed. They're like a duck. You see a duck wading, you will see the duck very friendly and smile and going quack quack outside. But inside the water, you would see it beating its feet very fast. So that's important. And then it is the semantic barrier. I told you about the semantic barrier. Like this is written like number 8 on the floor. So one person is saying infinity, the other is looking at it and saying it looks like a wave. For a person who's hungry, they're saying it should be a pretzel. And then other person who's very scientific is saying it looks like a DNA. Very important, what you communicate is very effective. And I told you before also, read this book called Everybody Communicates, but Few Connect by John C. Maxwell. So if you read that book, you will understand. 2 things to remember in life is take care of your thoughts when you're alone and take care of your words when you're with people. Think positive, speak positive, work positive. And these are few take-home messages from today's lecture. Take time to think before speaking. Be slow to speak and quick to listen. Speak to help the listener. Speak with straightforwardness. Be aware that the non-verbal communication is always at work. Be authentic, honest, and open. Be engaging and interesting and approachable. Listen actively, attentively, and with understanding. And use appropriate body language and facial expressions. Maintain good eye contact and show empathy. With that, I'm done, my dear friends. My number is 98401 76088, and you can follow that YouTube video that I told you. You can follow me at Team Red Rockstars, Dr.Vidyaa Smile Dental Clinic, and you will see that video of that boy. And thank you for a patient listening, and I'm open to questions at this point of time. I'll start sharing so that I can come and look at you. Yes, so open for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Vidyaa, for an excellent session on communication skills. May I now request the students, if you have any queries to ask to the speaker, you can either ask her or put it in the chat box.
Ma'am, I don't have a question. Probably it's just an additional point or something. When we talk about communication, there is always a possibility of it happens between two persons or two groups. or a single person in a group. You know, the social status. Suppose if the person who speaks is a professor, then, you know, if he is speaking to a group of students, then, you know, he has attitude that whatever he speaks, in whatever manner it is delivered, and, you know, the students should listen, because, you know, that's kind of an authoritarian approach. But the same thing happens in the recent, or now in the TV debates that's happening nowadays also, where you find the so-called anchors who try to put their views powerfully. So the good take-home message suggested by you is that, you know, the people who speak should always be concerned about the audience to whom we are speaking and what we are delivering. Because many times, you know, as teachers, we tend to teach students whatever we know. But that is not what is really required. So,
absolutely, John, sir. What you said is absolutely right. See, in my practice, it's very difficult. See, being in Tamil Nadu, 99% of people know Tamil, right? So if a person is coming into my practice and they are speaking in Tamil, I will not speak to them in English. I will speak to them only in Tamil. And many a times, like you have pointed out, whenever I see a representative come, especially with their senior people, the senior will sit on the chair and the junior would be standing. Yes. And I will tell, this place is my place. I want you to sit, otherwise I'm going to stand. So the senior, he will say, please sit down. In Madam's clinic, you will sit. So I believe in equality. I don't believe in, you know, anybody being superior to anybody. I believe that God has created all of us with a kind of an expertise. He has taken 9 months to, you know, bring out the best creation in the world, that is human being. And each of us are a marvel by ourselves. And I personally feel that, you know, there is no two ways about it. We all have everything within us. It is only that very few people have capitalized on what has been God's gift. And very few people have just let it be. என்னால முடியாதுப்பா, அது வந்து அவங்களால தான் முடியும். So they give up. And not to give up is the story. So, you know, this is something which all of us have to work. There is, I don't know if, since the Olympic fever is all across the globe, I'm just taking another example of an Olympian. There's this girl who goes and plays the pole vault. She misses it. Again, the second time misses it. Third time misses it, which means every 4 years. So third time means 12 years. See, you need to have a proper physique to first enter the Olympic champion. Even for entering, there is a criteria. And this child had to prove it. And now she enters the 4th time, which means 16 years since she started. Again, she fails. And the 5th time, which means 20th, she wins the gold.
My point is, yeah, my point is also, you know, the good communication comes very well if you have a right attitude.
True, sir. You need to have a very good mind makeup.
Yeah. Yes.
People always look at the face and put makeup. I always say, please look at your mind and put makeup for that. You know, that is something which is so important. This will fade away. Yeah. That will not fade away. It's very important. Yes. You need to be so beautiful inside out for people to, you know, grab you inside. Very important. Yes, Jojo John, sir.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, it was a perfect talk, ma'am. And the PowerPoint was brilliant. And your gestures were actually demonstrating the way to communicate. And your diction, the choice of words, it's really brilliant and outstanding, ma'am. Loved watching you perform like that. And I was learning from the way you are communicating, your style, and the slides were really contributing to your presentation. It was brilliant, and really proud of you, ma'am. You are doing great job. Congrats from Trivandrum and from Martha Training College.
Thank you so much, Jojo John sir. It's an honor because I know you are a professor yourself, and such words from senior colleagues are it's like a blessing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, and all the best, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, there is an interesting question in the chat box.
Okay.
From one student. Totally introvert people really do face trouble with starting and prolonging the conversation. Can you give suggestions for reducing this? And also how extrovert persons have to converse with such introvert persons?
Nobody is introvert and nobody is an extrovert. I was an introvert. Anybody believe in this audience that I was an introvert? So there is nothing like introvert or extrovert. It is just that you are trying to cocoon yourself within that kind of a prison which you think you want to be in. So I generally have a kind of a workshop. If you think you all need a workshop, you all should be able to do two things then. First thing is you should switch on your video. And second thing is you should have a pen and a paper next to you. Only then what I tell you will work out. Now, who has asked this question? If that student is able to switch on.
He has not given the name.
No,
the number was given.
The name is Kritika. Yes, Kritika.
Okay, Kritika.
Kritika. I'm sorry,
okay.
Kritika from Salem.
Kritika, I want you to take down my number. My number is 98401 76088. If you don't have my number, you can ask Shankaran sir. He has my number. You can take it from him. And contact me. I'll tell you personally how you can handle it. Now, it is in a very big group. I'll give you a generalized answer. But if it is a very personalized question, I'll handle this separately also. So let's answer this in a very generalized way. I am an extrovert and I can see somebody is an introvert. How do I converse with them? First, I go and sit next to them. It can be a male or a female. So I go sit next to them and smile. Now, when I smile, that person will understand two things. They are trying to communicate with me or trying to be friendly with me. His emotions, his or her emotions towards me, why is he or she coming and sitting next to me? Why is he or she, trying to be friendly with me? And is it a genuine person? Doubt, right? So how do I break the ice? So I'm going to give you key conversation tips to break the ice. First thing is, you tell your name and ask them for their name. My name is Vidya. What is your name? That's the first question. Second, you always give your answer first and then ask them for theirs. This, I always see it in, in conferences. So whenever we go for some conferences, there'll be so many people there. And when you go for a national or an international conference, you will see other person you've never seen in the life before, and you don't know when you're going to see them again. So the way of looking at that question would be, I will say, this is my visiting card. This is the second thing. This is my visiting card. Can I have yours? Instead of saying, can I have your visiting card? That becomes intimidating. But the moment I take my visiting card and says, this is my visiting card, this is my name, this is my contact number, And I would like to have yours. I liked this presentation of yours, or I like this about yours. And, so that breaks, those are the hot points. There is a book called Questions Are the Answers by Alan Pease. Questions Are the Answers by Alan Pease. And very important communicating book, where when you read it, you'll be able to break the ice. And I gave you a lot of questions or answers on the body language. Now, if I want to make the other person feel very inclusive, I will always face that person. I might have a very close friend of mine. Even I'm talking to them, I will look into this person and that person equally. My face will not be focused against one person. This is very important. Next is the way I deal with that person afterwards. So after asking these basic questions, I will say, are you from Chennai? I am from Chennai. So they'll say, oh no, I'm from, imagine Delhi. So then I'll say, okay, are you comfortable? Do you like our kind of food? And if it's in a conference, I'll say, come, let's go and have dinner together or lunch together, whatever is that thing. And then I will see that I serve food. See, in India, we have a very important slogan called Atithi Devo Bhava. Atithi means a person who is a kind of a guest to your place. Atithi means a guest. Devo means God. Bhava means incarnation. So, this person has come from Delhi to Tamil Nadu. So, he is my guest. He, she is my guest. How do I make that person comfortable? It is me, or I am representing Tamil Nadu for that person. Then that person opens up. I have made great friends like this. Great friends. So you first break the ice and you be genuine. And probably after they reach their hotel, you can just give a call and say, or a message saying, did you reach home safely? It can happen between any gender. It is not that only a boy should ask a girl, did she reach home safely? A girl can also ask a boy, did you reach safely? It's not gender biased. It's not age biased. It is not communal biased. It cannot be religion biased. It could be anything. If I have a friend who's a Muslim, I will tell him Eid Mubarak. And that person will also tell me Eid Mubarak. It works well, but you should be the first person to take that conversation in hand. That is very important. It cannot be you must be approachable from the word go. I hope, Kritika, it answered your question.
Abhijit wants to ask something to you.
Yes, Abhijit.
Abhijit, go ahead.
Thank you for the team. Thanks to the team and the presenter in the first place. So, Mrs. Vidya, my question is, most of the parents are working from home, and most of the students, all the students are studying from home. So, in India, the way of parenting is authoritarian, mostly. And students, usually there will be a screen. They'll keep the screen in front of them. They'll live in their own cocoon. So now, at present, the cocoon is the house. So both of them are living in the same cocoon. How can individual enhance their relationships using effective communication? Your suggestions, please.
Thank you, Abhijit, for that question. I think I did give glimpses of this in the earlier part of the presentation. And I just want to tell, usually it is the father and the child problem. The mother is a person whose every child will go to. I mean, the comfort level is different. But with the father, they look at Appa's temperament and all that stuff, and maybe work pressure, and they throw it on the children. I don't know. Indian parenting is different. But nevertheless, to answer your question, it's very, very, very important that you speak from the child's point of view. So I'll give an example. Whenever a child walks into my clinic and the child is, at this level, that means probably my waist level, I'll bring the child closer to me and speak at that eye level. Eye level conversation is very important. When I stand up and the child is only up till my waist, I become authoritative. So if it is a small child within the same home and the parent wants to speak to the child, I will encourage, see, tomorrow you all are going to be parents. So I will encourage you to sit down with your knees on the floor at the level of the eye for your child and then talk. Then you will not sound authoritative. That's one. Second is the tone at which you speak. Third is the touch therapy. The moment you touch a child, that is a kind of a non-verbal communication. You hold, you touch. Two different things. Many a time, this is the action, but it should be like this. The moment you touch, the child will calm down. All of us are looking out for acceptance amidst people. Just think about it. You are talking about being in the same house and the same cocoon. Even inside the same house, maybe even inside the same room, they might be strangers. Because there is a space. And I very strongly believe in this. If a person wants to share something with you, they would share it any which way. Even if you are in the Mars, they will share it with you. And if they want to hide something from you, even if you are in the same room, they will hide it from you. Am I right or wrong? As a child, as a young adult, you think about the ways how you are open with your parents. So the way of answering a communication is very simple. It is to break the ice. And for that, as an adult, the elder adult. Now, if you are an adult and your dad is an adult, the elder adult, which means a father, they have to break the ice. Because as and when the authoritative comes, you will go more and more into the cocoon, like the layers of the onion. You will have so many layers. It's very difficult to break open. But you know, a true heart can melt anything on earth. So if you're genuine, people will understand and they will talk. It will work out. So have witnessed many people with that issue these days. Yes, Abhijit, you're true. Any questions more? I am not able to read all the chat boxes.
I think Dr. Vidyaa, Dr. Selvaraj from Namakkal has put a message stating that there are a lot of fans for you at VCRI Namakkal. He says that everyone is asking who is the speaker. So that's the kind of impact you've created in the faculty as well as the students' mind. And I see a lot of comments on your talk. Excellent, wonderful, exhaustive. So many things were there in the chat box. So I think you have answered to most of the questions that has been posted in the chat box. And I also put in the chat box that you are going to come again on August 5th. So building up confidence. So that people can know much more about how they can build their confidence. I think
Selvaraj sir, I think he wants to say something.
No, before that, the Kritika from Salem is again asked what you have told about the prisoner died after listening to the jailer. Is this something to do with the negative placebo effect?
Yes, negative placebo effect. You're right.
And again, Selraj has asked, students are struggling to communicate even in local language. Why? Lack of confidence or lack of interest?
Lack of confidence is one. Acceptance is the first thing. See, especially I have seen this when I was a student itself. So don't know how it is right now because it's a lot of years since I've finished college. But we had Tamil medium students coming, and we were from English medium school. And I came from Church Park. So you understand, right? So when you come from Church Park, your English is going to be good. And when you come from a Tamil medium school, their English, probably their medium of English itself is not there. They speak in Tamil, they think in Tamil. That's all it is, right? So I was, in fact, I am a very friendly person. So my teachers used to make me teach those friends of mine. Till today, we are good friends. They were my classmates, but even today, I have never, see, you should always downplay in front of your friends who are not good. I'll give you one example. Imagine a person who's visually impaired standing next to you. Will you tell that I can see everything? Look at that beautiful thing. Will you tell that to that person? No, right? Their empathy comes. Similarly, this is something which they don't have. All you can do is, there's a beautiful video which came on WhatsApp. I'm sure most of the student community would have seen it. There is this friend, it came on Friendship Day, just got over yesterday. So I'm sure all of you would have seen. So there is this friend and who's blind, and both of them go for a match. And this friend who can see is commentating completely to this friend who's visually impaired. Every goal or whatever the game is, he's trying to tell in this, friend's ears. And the moment he's telling goal, this friend and he both are hitting each other and laughing, and that is friendship, my dear friends. Friendship is not thinking about status. I don't know any status of any of my friends. I became their friends, and then I knew who their father is and what their father was or what house they lived in. For me, it is the heart of my friend which matters, not what the rich is. What am I going to do with that? If you're choosing your friends because they are rich or they are good in something, you have not found a real friendship. Thank you, Abhijit. I could see the heart. Thank you.
Ma'am, Lokesh
Yes.
Pratap has got a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lokesh.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Lokesh. I can hear you.
Ma'am, I have one common question, ma'am, which was faced by most of the students while interacting with someone with not in mother language.
Not in mother language.
In English or some other language. Not in mother language. In English or the universal language. So most of them try to speak in English.
What is the question? I didn't
While
understand.
While interacting, what we have to talk will come up in our mind, but we can't. What is the reason, ma'am?
I didn't get your question completely.
No. He has told that for interaction in any universal thing, now English is the common language. So not the mother language. So we have something to speak to the people when we interact, but it does not come out of the mouth. So what is that we should do like that? He's asking.
2-3 things, Lokesh. First thing is, any language should not act as a barrier for you. Okay. See, today we are talking about Tamil and English because our circle is so small. But India, if you look at India, India has so many languages. Forget a foreign country and a foreign language. In India itself, right? So the whole idea is for you to be first confident in your language. Okay? And second thing is, if you really think language is a kind of a communication, because I don't believe language is the only communication. But even if you think language is a part of a communication, A person who is a Hindi speaking person, mother tongue is Hindi, for that person, English might be difficult. For a Tamil speaking person, again, English might be difficult. And these two have to converse. So the only language which they know is some broken English. Speak that broken English. I don't know if you've all seen a beautiful serial in the 70s and 80s called Mind Your Language. If you have not, please see that. It's about different nationalities learning English. And it is not the pronunciation. It is not the correct kind of usage of words. It is not the correct emotions which you put in those words also. It is the feelings with which you talk, but get across to the other person by itself. So please understand, language is never a barrier. You can communicate with that broken English to that friend of yours who might be super in English. If that person is your friend, they will understand. I have been in the teaching industry for 26 years. And I interact with students in all languages. And what I have found is that the students see beyond language, they see the eyes. They see empathy, they see the touch. If that person can't understand, I will make them first sit down. After I make them sit down, I will ask them to explain to me once or twice till I understand what they are trying to say. And then I reciprocate. Now that is between me and that person. So if this person who knows English is trying to understand you, they will understand. Don't worry, but don't stop talking because you are not able to put your words out. For that, if you ask me, I would say watch a lot of English movies or read a lot of English books, improve your vocabulary. See, you should get out of your comfort zone. And probably learn one word in English every day from the dictionary. Learn it with the meaning, with the usage in a sentence. In a year's time, you'll have 365 words. In 3 years, you'll have 1,000+ words. Start solving some kind of puzzles, crosswords, learn meanings. We have to put in some effort. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving this lesson, ma'am.
Welcome, welcome. Yes,
Thank you.
Selvaraj, sir.
Selvaraj, you want to add something?
No, Sangra.
Thank you.
They added many things. It is really interesting to watch her. What is that? Body language, mannerism, and that spirit right from 4:30 to even now 6. I have not seen a single word struggling without water he is taking. Really, really, you have to appreciate her. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Vidyaa, for a wonderful presentation as usual. So, and somebody has said I'm smiling throughout, so that's also very important. So Abhijit has told that. It's so nice of you again. So we look forward to your next lecture on Thursday on building up confidence. Thank you so much. So
thank you so much, John sir and Shankaran sir and all of you from the IDP of TANUVAS. It's really like a family, and I feel so blessed that I've got all of you in my life. And happy Friendship Day to all of you, and happy Friendship Day to all the students here too. I just hope and pray that you have a huge friends gang and use the best part of communication to connect with people, and that is very important.
Thank you so much.